Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Chapter 3. Reminiscences of the Clowns. Surprise Operation. For now, he was convinced of their purpose and agreed with it, but it was unknown if that would last forever. There was no doubt that he had wanted to avoid possessing an angelic skill in case their paths ever diverged. Nevertheless, the Judgment King, Israfel, had been obtained. As long as it was not the ultimate enchantment, Michael's will would not intervene. There's no doubt that this was a natural skill that he acquired, and for that reason, it seemed inadvisable to throw it away. Now, I wonder how much Michael knows about it. There was no doubt that he could rule over the angelic skills, given his ability to control Belgrand and Velzard. However, he should change his actions depending on how far he could grasp the owner of the system. My will is my own, and I will not allow it to be rewritten without my knowledge. Zelario was a rational thinker. Therefore, he did not interfere in the control of the true Dragon Sisters out of respect for the high success rate of the operation, even if he really disliked the operation. And now, he was in the same position. Really, what a mess. Since he didn't oppose it in the first place, his current situation was his own fault. Even so, he pondered on how to deal with Michael. Abera was the same. Like Zelario, Abera had acquired the ultimate skill of the angelic system. And like Zelario, it was not something she wanted. What Abera obtained was the ultimate skill, Salvation King, Azrael. It was an incredibly powerful skill, but it was useless to her. The reason is that those who were born as primordial beings already had administrative authority without having to rely on a skill. They could activate all kinds of magic instantly, and if they made full use of it, they wouldn't need to rely on skills. It was more flexible, and could be used to achieve anything. For Abera and the others, his very existence was at the ultimate level. It made no difference whether they had ultimate skill or not. That's why she got it at this moment, even though she didn't wish for it. Moreover, she was pretty sure that it was an angelic system skill. This is not good. If I don't do something, they might find out that I'm disloyal. Abera, who had planned to turn completely, was now in a more serious situation than Zelario. What should she do now? Abera thought. She wouldn't worry about having her mind read. It was not a problem for her to erase the surface thoughts of her mind. However, this would not be the case if she were to be manipulated without knowing it, so she needed to think of a countermeasure. Let's make a self-imposed suggestion. Abera decided. If a contradiction arose within herself, she would not hesitate to destroy the Salvation King, Azrael. Because she was an ultimate spiritual life form, she was capable of such unconventional actions. However, if that happened, it would mean a complete break away from Feldway. Depending on the situation, even Abera would not be safe. But even so, for the sake of Milam, the orphan daughter of Valdanava, Abera believed that there was no need to worry. It would be nothing but disrespectful for us to discern the thoughts of the Creator. Feldway is too selfish, even though he may not resurrect of his own volition. That was the truth. And Abera believed that Milam was the rightful successor. A beautiful bell rang. Solemn, clear, and tickling the heartstrings. Then the door opened, and out walked Michael, Feldway, and Velzard. With just those three people, there radiated an air of supremacy that could blow away any divine spirit that had filled the hall. Waiting for Michael to be seated, Feldway and Velzard also took their seats. Well then, let's begin. And so, the strategy meeting began. On command, Mai stood up, and projected a three-dimensional image of the entire cardinal world at the center of the round table. It was a miniature figure of the earth. From a god's perspective, the stronghold of the demon lords was shown. These are the strongholds of the octagram who are opposing us, and their key points. There are 6 of them. The North Pole of Gi, the western edge of Daggerel, the central west of Reminiscences, the forest of Remur, the southeast of Melam, and the continent of Leon. In response to Michael's comment, Mai lit up 6 points of light on the ground. I would like to hear your opinions on how we should attack. Everyone he had called out, but only a few people were actually within Feldway's line of sight. There were Zelario and Abera, and Yuki and Kigali. Dino and his group were not good at planning operations, and Vega was not an option from the start. As for the others, he didn't give them the right to speak because he considered them to be beneath them. Zelario and Bear were silent, as if watching the situation. Kigali, sensing the atmosphere, opened her mouth. In this case, the aggressor has the advantage. I think we should concentrate our forces and target a single spot. I agree. However, it is difficult to know where to aim. The defenders would have to spread out their forces. Kigali and Yuki agreed that there was no need for the defender to match their opponents. Surprisingly, it was Dino who spoke up after hearing this. Just so you know, you shouldn't go to Ramrus's labyrinth. Following that, the capital of the Monster Federation, Rimuru, will be isolated in the labyrinth during the war. It won't be easy to get rid of, so I recommend you target it last. Since this information was shared, no one objected. They realized that, if they took too long in the labyrinth, they might be surrounded and annihilated by reinforcements from other countries. Let's do that last. By attacking elsewhere, we might be able to lure those who are holed up inside. Ramrus would become a huge nuisance if they were forced to play defense. With that in mind, they needed to plan his attack. There's no one left at the Frost Palace. There is no sign of them. It was Velzert who suddenly spoke up. Her gaze was sharp and fixed on Leon's continent. So the enemy has thought of a countermeasure. By consolidating the demon lords, they avoided dispersing their own forces. Indeed, it seems that there are 5 places on the ground where huge power is concentrated. Mai removed Gi's North Pole Point and strengthened the remaining 5 points of light. There was only one less option, but the difficulties seemed to have increased greatly. However, the advantage of the attackers still remained. So, where should they aim? This is where Zelario came in. Feldway-sama, I have a question. What is it? Michael-sama has absolute control over the angelic systems, but are we able to get a hint as to where the owners are? He had asked an important question here, one that would affect him as well. A bear was also in on it. That is a concern. If we can find out who they are, we should probably get them on our side, first. Michael nodded. I couldn't sense them before, but now I know. I know now that others possess the Judgment King, Israfel, and the Salvation King, Azrael, and I know that Dino and the others have the Heavenly King Astarte, Glory King, Haniel, and Rigor King, Jibril. The remaining Domination King, Melchizedek, is owned by Kigali, and Arios is the owner of the Punishment King, Sandalphon. And then there are the higher angelic systems that are the same rank as me. At those words, Michael frowned. Not enough. And with that, everyone became tense. What does that mean? Feldway asked. Michael responded with a brief explanation. First, Valgren's Charity King, Rigel, was recovered and given to the right person. No one responded to this. There was an eerie silence, but unconcerned, Michael continued. Then there was the Patience King, Gabriel, which was never recovered and remains in Velzert's possession. The icy beauty remained motionless, her face expressionless. This was a natural step to maintain the rule of the ultimate dominion. So far, the owners of these skill are known, but 3 of the 4 remaining skill are problematic. With that said, Michael's explanation continued. Michael had taken Valgren's power for himself, and had also taken in Velzert's dragon factor. This greatly increased his power, allowing him to search for signs of the owners of the other angelic systems under his control. However, he was only able to find the Purity King, Metatron. What? If it was the ultimate skill Hulk King, Serial, wouldn't it have belonged to the chosen hero Chrono? There was no response. I don't know if it's because my surveillance was unable to reach Ramrus's labyrinth, or if there were other reasons. Ramrus is not to be underestimated. It's no wonder you can't see into the labyrinth. If that's the case, should we assume that the Covenant King, Uriel, and the Wisdom King, Raphael, also have owners in the same place? I'm not sure, but I think it's reasonable to assume so. After all, there is no other place I cannot explore with my skill. There were no other skills created by Veldanava, and the only other possibility was Ramrus's intrinsic skill, labyrinth creation. So Michael's conclusion was that the remaining 3 existed in the same place. He was correct. But now they were already gone, and even their essence had been changed. Unaware of this, Michael decided that the problem had been resolved. And so did Feldway and the others. Well then, no problem. Either way, Vildora is in the labyrinth, and we're going to attack him anyway. We can find him, and then add him to our ranks. Is it safe to assume that the enemy has someone on the inside? Exactly. We can find them at a glance, so we'll worry about that later. What we need to think about now is where to make our first target, but I think we already have an answer. There's only one known owner, so why don't we add that one to the group first? That's what Yuki had decided. His free will had been taken away, but his ability to plan ahead still remained intact. The one who possesses the Purity King, Metatron, is here. all eyes focused on his fingertips. Michael pointed to El Dorado, the capital of Leon's territory. "That's the demon lord Leon who killed me," Kaguli muttered to herself. This was the moment when she realized that the flash of light that had burned her to the ground had been caused by the Purity King, Metatron. "Then I guess it's decided. So, who's going to attack?" Yuki asked with a smile. "I'm going. I don't know care if it's Demon Lord Leon or whatever, but you don't mind if I eat him, do you? Did you not hear what was said? Leon could become one of us." "Gee, damn. In that case, I'll just have to put up with the rest of them." Yuki and Vega were talking to each other, as if they had already decided where to attack. There was no one to stop them, and the decision was made. There was no need to declare war, since the goal of this war was to revive Valdenava. Michael and Feldway decided as such. Inevitably, the war would start with a surprise attack. There was no need to spare any forces, but Feldway had his own ideas about that. The goal is to obtain the owner of the Purity King, Metatron. It would be nice if we could get rid of some of the people who interfere with that, but it would be no fun to cause damage here. Therefore, let's leave the fools behind. He declared that he would attack only with the strongest. Michael's ultimate dominion was versatile, but it was not unconditionally activated. It was an absolute dominion over the angelic system, but it required him to cross his line of sight with the target. Incidentally, the Regalia Dominion had even more complicated conditions. The Dominion bullet, which had been loaned to Lieutenant Kondu, could only be used on a single target, and the success rate was low, unless the target was caught off guard. The Regalia Dominion, on the other hand, changed the number of people it controlled, depending on the presence of the target. And most importantly was that the success rate was lower when the opponent was of the same rank as the user, meaning that they had to inflict a considerable blow or else it would fail. At the very least, the opponent had to have a weaker presence than the user to succeed, so it was a difficult skill to use. The current value of Michael's existence was about 90 million. However, Yuki's existence value, about 2 million, was subtracted from it, so an attack on Valdor, his existence value was over 88 million, would not succeed. Michael had no way of knowing that, but nevertheless, he believed that controlling Valdor would be a difficult task. That is why he needed to gather his forces before attacking Ramrus's labyrinth. That was also why they were trying to add the targeted person to their ranks without diminishing the strength of their own camp. And so, the members of the sortie were decided. "I'm staying behind," declared Dino, who was staying behind. "What about me and my army? I want you all to be ready to move your troops. We're planning to launch a full-scale invasion following this operation." "Understood." The Insectors led by Zelanis began to prepare for war, as did the Phantom Army. Zelario's army was being coordinated by Dallas and Nice. Since Abera's army was still deployed in the otherworldly stronghold, Abera was to return and hand over the control to Oma. Then, all the remaining officers went out to battle. If it was just the officers, Mai's instantaneous movement would take them to their destination in an instant. With Abera, there would be no problem to identify the coordinates using presence detection, and they could easily meet up with each other immediately using spatial transportation. Based on this judgment, the surprise operation was launched. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.